closure in 3 22-inch bundles in body wave. I did go ahead and bleach the knots on this closure. I do have a tutorial on that already. I also plucked it. I'm going to pluck it a little bit more while it's on my head, and also a little bit more right before I put it in. I went ahead and braided my hair. Y'all, I struggle braiding my own hair, so I didn't record that. But as long as you braid it flat down and have a side part, you fine. I just went ahead and used some Got to Be glue to go ahead and slick my edges down, and also stick this nude cap down. I got this nude cap from my local beauty supply store, so y'all should be able to find one at y'all local beauty supply store. If not, use a knee high in your skin tone. That way you won't have to use makeup to make it match your skin. I'm just going to go ahead and use that Got to Be glue on the outside of the cap now to make sure that it sticks. I didn't have my blow dryer, so I just waited till mine dried, and I came back on camera once it dried to show y'all the rest. But if you have a blow dryer, you can go ahead and blow dry it. Now I'm just going to be sewing off the area in which my closure will be sitting. I'm just doing like a guesstimation. It's always better to go bigger than smaller. The reason I did this is because I wanted to go ahead and start sewing on my tracks. This is the first bundle that I'm going to be using. It came with a decent amount of hair. I didn't end up using all of the hair. I used about 2 3/4 bundles. So I'm just going to go ahead and start from the back sewing it in. If you do want to cut off the rest of the cap, you can go ahead. I didn't see a reason to cut it off. Not that I really needed it there, but I just didn't cut it off. So I'm just going to go ahead and start sewing. And y'all, this is going to be real janky because obviously I can't see the back of my own head. So everything that I'm doing and sewing is pretty much based off of feel. So if you're doing this on yourself, I suggest having like a small mirror in front of you with a big mirror in the back of you so that you can see. But if not, do your best and base it off feeling. Yeah, so basically I'm just going to use the flip over method for most of my head. Once I get to the top, I am going to be cutting the tracks because I do want them to sit as flat as possible. But for some parts, I can flip. Some parts I can. If I can't flip it, I'm going to cut it. So yeah, and once I finish sewing all the way up to the top, I'm going to go ahead and put my closure on. So I'm using my Fit Me pressed powder in 355 coconut. You can use whatever color you like. Just try not to use something liquid. So yeah, I'm just going to put that all over until I'm fully coated. Then I'm going to go ahead and spray my closure and begin to pluck it out as much as possible. I did put it on my head to kind of see how my hairline was, and I went back in to just pluck it out more. I did pluck it out before I started the video, but it just was like a rough pluck just to kind of get some of the hairs out. But this is like my kind of refined touches to kind of make it look more like my hairline. And I'm gonna also be cutting off the little flaps on the side. I got this trick from Erica J on YouTube, and so I'm just cutting both flaps off so that it can lay down really flat on the side. I only do this when I'm gluing down a closure. If I'm sewing the closure in only, I keep that part on because it really does not make a difference. So I'm just going to be placing the closure on my head where I want to sew it. And I'm just going to like hold it in place and then move the hair forward, flip the hair forward, push it back, make it flat, and then begin to sew on the closure. That was kind of hard for me to do by myself. So if y'all do have help, go ahead and ask them to hold it for you. So at this point, I'm anchoring the thread to the tracks that's on the side to the closure, if that makes sense. I think you may see it better on the other side, but since I didn't use an elastic band, which I normally do use when I'm doing closures on myself, but I end up leaving my elastic bands at home, so I end up just having to go ahead and anchor it. So basically I'm just attaching the side part of the closure to the tracks that's right there, just to make it tight and hold it down. I don't know if that's making sense, but hopefully y'all can see what I'm saying. Now I'm gonna just show y'all like how I can part my closure. You really can part it anywhere in that area, but I didn't want to. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to be cleaning off my skin with some 91% alcohol, and I'm going to wipe it off 2 to 3 times, let it dry. Then I'm going to wipe it off completely with the dry paper towel just to be sure that my skin is clean as possible. And I'm also going to be looking to see where I need to place the glue, and I'm going to flip it back up. Then I'm going to go ahead and use my Boho Active Glue. Boho or Boho Active, it really doesn't matter. They both work just the same for me. You can even use Ghost Bond. I just use Boho instead. It really doesn't matter. I've used all of them. So I'm just using the end of my makeup brush. I did wipe it off and let it dry. I wiped it off with the alcohol as well and let it dry just to make sure there's no makeup or anything on the brush on my skin. You're going to let each layer turn clear before you put on the next layer. And you're going to make sure that the layers are as thin as possible. I did do 4 layers total. I did 1 layer that was on the cap, and then the other 3 layers were on my skin. I didn't show the last layer, which I'm not really sure why I didn't film the last layer, but I did do 4 layers total. Then I went ahead and just laid down the lace. I try to keep my fingers from touching it as possible. Like, I try to keep my fingers away. I'm trying to mostly use the comb. Then once I'm done, I'm going to use a little bit of mousse to move the hair back so that I could cut off the lace. You can cut off your lace prior to gluing it down. It's just easier for me to lay it down with the lace still on there. Then I'm going to use a eyebrow razor and go ahead and snip off the excess lace. I'm making like cutting, like saw motions, so that it won't be like a straight line across. The lace won't be. So you can also use scissors and go in a zigzag motion as well if that's what you want to do. But for my own head, that's what I do on clients. But for my own head, it was easier for me to use an eyebrow razor. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put in my part and use some mousse to, lay it down. And I'm gonna also be plucking out a little bit more hair on my hairline just to make it look a little more natural. You don't have to do this step, but I felt that my hairline looked a little too full and I wanted it to be a little less full. I'm also trying to see where I want my baby hair to sit. So I pulled out some hair and I began to pluck right there because I know that I'm going to be having some hair out on that side. So yeah, and I'm just going to define my part a little bit more and just make it look as natural as possible. Now that I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and sew in the last tracks that I have. And once I'm done doing that, I'm going to come back to y'all. So now that I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and use my hot comb to lay down my closure. The hot comb is going to be your best investment, or some type of hot tool that is flat. You can use a curling iron or a wand curler or something like that. At this point, I'm going to be doing my baby hair. You don't have to do baby hair. It's optional. It looked perfectly fine without baby hair, but I wear baby hair with my natural hair, so it kind of looked weird to me, on me, for me not to have baby hair. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut baby hair with my eyebrow razor, and I'm using the Nairobi mousse to lay my baby hair down. You want to be really quick with this, because if you're not and you're playing around and you're not getting to it, it will lift up on you. I'm telling you now, guys, so be careful. And I don't think you can use any type of mousse on with this glue, but the Nairobi glue works. I mean, the Nairobi foam works just fine. I'm going to be tying up my edges, and after I let that dry, I came back and I cut it off. And now y'all see that I'm going to be putting some mousse on my hair and defining my part a little bit more, and just getting my hair to the desired style that I want. And then after I hot comb my closure down a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and curl my hair using my flat irons. So this is the final look. I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial. This hair held a curl very, very well. This is not my first time working with this company, so of course y'all know I do recommend this company. They are very affordable and the hair is pretty good quality. So I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching. Bye.